Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. I mentioned earlier how Shona Robinson probably won't put money into our crisis centres because she hasn't got any. She spent it all on other things. Those foreign embassies aren't cheap, for example. But it isn't, of course, just that one little thing she hasn't got money for. She hasn't got money for anything. And now all the councils across Scotland are threatening to go bankrupt unless they get money. Money that can only come from the budget that Shona Robinson is about to announce. And it's not as though she doesn't have the cash. She's had the Barnet uplift. That was billions of pounds that they were given and yet strangely haven't spent. We wonder where the money has gone. Presumably, and one can only assume, into people's back pockets. But that is an awful lot of money to have embezzled so very quickly. So presumably they do have the money somewhere. Perhaps they'll spend it on the councils. Wouldn't think so, though. So without this funding, all these councils going bankrupt only can blame Shona Robinson. What's a girl to do? Well, probably the best she can, which is not very good at all, is it? Let's have a look and see how awful it's about to become as Shona Robinson prepares her budget ready to destroy Scotland in a single day. Here goes. Now, you see, by mentioning that earlier, it goes to show I don't just throw this stuff together, you know. I plan it. It's good. Anyway, the SNP warned councils will go bankrupt without improved funding. From the money they undoubtedly have, there's billions missing, and it must be sitting somewhere, even if it is in their own personal accounts. An 11th hour plea from COSLA comes weeks before the Scottish Government announces their end-of-year budget. Isn't she looking like a tired old woman? She really is. She's aged. Ever since going into that role, she literally has aged overnight. It's the toll on her must be immense, knowing that everyone's looking at her and everyone's aware of the financial shenanigans going on in the party. A party that now she is responsible for the financial shenanigans. She's trying to work out ways of hiding the incompetence, I presume. Assuming it is just incompetence and not criminality. But even so, she's a woman over-promoted into a role. She's not capable. She's far too dim. She's got an IQ of about 86. And she's got a department which is very, very important. So it's no wonder she's looking stressed. She's incapable of doing the job, isn't she? It does require a little bit of intelligence. And unfortunately, she doesn't have even that. Council leaders in Scotland have warned that there is a risk of bankruptcy for local authorities if funding provided by the SNP government is not improved. Local government body COSLA made the comment after Birmingham and Nottingham city councils effectively declared themselves bankrupt. Both authorities have issued Section 114 notices which prevent spending on virtually everything apart from statutory services. Yeah, basically, they've overspent it. And what have both Birmingham and Nottingham city councils got in common? Socialism. Isn't it weird how that works out? In a briefing paper published ahead of the Scottish budget on December the 19th, apologies, reading is hard, COSLA said, there is a risk this becomes the reality for Scottish councils if the funding by Scottish Government does not match growing cost pressures. And of course it can't. They have to have their money spent on important things, foreign embassies, glossy brochures, the whole Department of Independence and Jamie Hebban's $120,000 a year, plus all the millions spent on his department, even though it shouldn't even exist because it's not within their competency. But hey, you know, that's fine. But don't spend it where it's important, you know, on people, on services, on things that is actually good. No. You must waste it on a lost cause, a cause that can never happen. I think it's verging on the criminal, and I think there needs to be an investigation, and the charges need to be dropped. If they are spending money like that and not spending it where it needs to go, then it's criminality. It's a crime against humanity in some cases. Shona Robinson MSP, the Finance Minister, has already warned that serious cuts will be made. And responding to the fresh warning, the Scottish Government said it is facing the most challenging budget settlement since devolution. Well, if you keep spending the money, what do you expect? If you keep stealing it, what do you expect? And if you keep wasting it, what do you expect? If perhaps you just spent the money properly the first time round, you wouldn't be in a hole. Perhaps you should put taxes up. Yes, that'll help. Scottish Conservative Shadow Secretary for Finance and Local Government Liz Smith, MSP, said the fact that councils are even having to make this 11th hour plea is a damning indictment of years of brutal SNP cuts. Basically, they've cut every year since coming into power. Now, they'll tell you, oh, we're putting more money in now than ever. Yes, in terms of actual numbers, yes. But if you take inflation into account, it's been real terms, year-on-year cuts in every single area of spending and expenditure except one. And I don't need to tell you what one single area of expenditure has not ever faced cuts. You can work it out because you, unlike her, unlike Shona, are intelligent. Scotland's local authorities, this is Liz Smith again, Scotland's local authorities have been struggling to provide core services for years now, and it appears they may finally be nearing breaking point. And unless the SNP finally give councils the fair funding deal they deserve, bankruptcy will become a looming prospect for councils right across the country. I think if every council did declare bankruptcy, it would force Westminster to come in and step in to sort out the mess. And I think it would actually lead to the disbandment of the Scottish Assembly. It's proved ill-suited for purpose. People are suffering. It's destroyed everything. And I think it may well end the whole sort of terrible, expensive era of a mistake of even allowing it. Simply because it became so extremist and so mad and so filled with basically what I would consider evil, inhumane, psychopathic and sociopathic people. Anyway, COSLA Resources spokeswoman Katie Hagman warned, without improvements in council funding, tough choices could mean essential services they provide will cease. And to deal with the impact of inflation and the council tax freeze announced by First Minister Humza Yousaf without first informing local authority leaders, COSLA said councils need almost £14.4 billion in the 2024 budget just to stand still. Well, don't hold your breath for that. They haven't got £14.4 billion. They've spent it. No details have emerged on how much money local authorities will get to compensate for the council tax freeze, but the Scottish Government has insisted the policy will be fully funded. But they lie. We know they lie. They lie about everything. Last year, councils faced a £1 billion funding gap just to keep services going. This year, it'll be even bigger. And then you have the idiot standing there at the conference going, I've got a really shit speech. What can I possibly do that will make it less shit? I know, ping, bright idea, council tax freeze. And everybody puts their hands in there, or their head in their hands, and says, what the hell is this moron doing? And of course, Shona Robinson now has to sit there and pretend that it was the idea all along. And yes, we're going to fund it. And we've got to find £14 billion. Good luck. Put the taxes up. Watch as you put income tax up and all that. You put the taxes up to help pay for this, and you watch as businesses collapse, as people move south of the border, as businesses move south of the border, as everyone pulls their capital out, and you lose everything. Because you have got a woman with an IQ of 86 in charge of Scotland's economy. It's not good. She's too stupid. She doesn't understand how things work. She's incredibly dim. In every role she's ever had, she's failed. But then that's the SNP way. They don't like experts. They don't like knowledgeable people. They only want morons, because that way the people in charge can blame the morons when it all goes wrong. And don't be thinking the likes of Shona Robinson are in charge. No. They're all puppets. Anyway, Mr. Hagman continued. Sadly, she said, our reality right now is an extremely challenging financial climate coupled with years of real terms cuts to budgets, while additional policy commitments are continually being introduced. If this situation doesn't start to improve soon, it will mean tough choices being made, and the many essential services that councils currently provide will cease. Services that not only address problems on the ground, but actively prevent bigger issues occurring down the line. The SNP don't care. They absolutely don't care. They want society to fall apart. They want these councils to fail, because the worse they can make it on the ground, the more misery and poverty they can spread, they can then point to this utopic future and go, look, we can make things better, but only if you vote for the SNP. It was the same ploy tried by the National Socialists in Germany in the 30s. It worked for them for a very short time, although the rest of the world kind of didn't like it and had to step in. And let's hope that this time Westminster are willing to step in before it gets that bad. The hospitals are already turning into concentration camps. And how much worse is it going to be once they start bringing in the ghettos, the 15-minute ghettos, and banning cars because they don't want people to have free movement. This is the direction of travel. And that's before you even start taking in what they're doing with children. You know? So this is the people you're voting with. And now they want to deliberately slaughter the councils because they don't want services. They want misery and poverty. Anyway, Shona Robinson said councils really are the key to unlocking the best of our communities, from safe quality housing to clean streets to supporting the most vulnerable people to thrive, to education and social care. The importance of these services cannot be emphasised enough, but they need to be funded properly. And that's the last thing that will happen under the SNP. They don't want it. There's a bit more politicking and we'll come down here. A Scottish Government spokesperson said Scotland is facing the most challenging budget settlement since devolution. Right, and that we know is bullshit. Right, it says it's a result of sustained high inflation and the UK government autumn statement that failed to deliver the investment needed in Scotland's public services. So that's fine. What have you done with the £33 billion that you were given that you failed to pass on? That money must be somewhere. You were given it and you've never passed it on. For example, there was 6 million went to swimming pools. Where did that go? Didn't go to the swimming pools. What about all the farmers' money that you said you'd pass on and have never passed on? Where's that? Where's all the billions you were given? Don't be blaming Westminster. You were the one stealing billions, and I mean billions, from the taxpayer and not passing it on. Where's the money? Is it salted away in foreign accounts waiting for when the leadership resign? And they take themselves off to a country without extradition, because that's the only explanation to where those billions, with a B, have gone. This needs a full investigation, charges need to be brought, and jail terms of 100 years each, literally the rest of their lives, in a dirty, shitty 8x10 cell with slop thrown in every day. That's what they deserve. Billions missing, and they dare to blame Westminster. The lying, two-faced bastards. Coming up. So there you go. They had the money and they're blaming Westminster. They haven't spent the money and that's the fault of Westminster. Where's all the money gone? It isn't Westminster. It's the SNP. And when these things fail, know that it is not accidental, that it is not an oversight, that it is not the fault of Westminster not funding you enough. Know exactly that it is deliberate decisions by the SNP. 17 years of SNP corrupt rule. Billions upon billions of pounds missing. Nobody's getting it. All that business tax renewal that was supposed to go back and go back into the businesses. Where did that go? Billions went, disappeared. No one's seen it since. It's gone. It's been salted away. They've had it. Nobody knows where the money's gone. And then they dare to blame other people. It's down to them. And when you're sitting there and your granny's not getting seen by social services, or your child that's disabled isn't getting the facilities and the extra care needed, and your schools are falling apart, who are you blaming? Don't be blaming Westminster. Westminster gave you the money. Blame the people who took the money and didn't pass it on. 17 years of SNP rule is going to destroy Scotland. But you keep voting for them. What the hell do you expect? Till next time, stay safe, stay well, and always ask, where's the money? Bye.